how to go from stressed to peace in a minute or less. On today's video, I'm going to show you how you already have the resources within you to create a massive shift in your state so that you can feel more ease and own the day. Okay, let's go. So welcome back to the channel where we empower families to create awesome health so that they can access naturally presence, purpose, and performance for a lifetime. Now, if you're being chased or going through a dangerous moment, stress is the appropriate response. I mean, your body has an amazing ability to rise to the occasion of survival. Now, the problem is that we're not supposed to live there. We're not supposed to be like that all the time. I mean, our lives are so full of stress these days, yet the problem is that most of these stresses are imagined and they're not immediate in our reality. I mean, we doom scroll through social media, our brains get hijacked by the negative news that's constantly vying for your and my attention. I mean, we're comparing our lived reality with others' edited highlight reels on social media. I mean, we're living in constant stress, either real or most often, I'll have you consider, perceived. See, we imagine our problems and we create these stories that are so complex that we don't know how we'll ever get out from underneath them. Now, have you considered that the most complex problems require simple solutions, often so simple that it offends the mind? I mean, sometimes the solution is right under our noses. And in this case, it's actually in our noses. It's our breath. A couple of days ago, I was at the beach with both of my kids, and my 2.5-year-old started running for the swings, and she hit this little patch of, it was like a little something, and she tripped over, fell, skinned her knee, and she actually hit her head on the ground just a little bit, like kind of off of her hand, scraped her head a little bit, and she was she went ballistic. She started crying. She was like inconsolable. So I grabbed her and I'm holding her, I'm walking around, and she's like, her knee's all bloody, her forehead is all scraped. And it was just not fun. She was not having fun, and everybody's looking and like, oh my gosh, is she okay? She was okay, thank God she's okay. But she was just inconsolable in the moment. And as a child, I mean, you don't have the resources or the know-how to consciously like calm yourself down and try to she's just like in pain and doesn't know what's going on. And so I grabbed her and I held her tight. And what I started doing after a little bit was I just started taking some deep breaths. And I told her, I kind of talked in her ear and I said, okay, let's take some deep breaths. She didn't really understand. She's yelling and screaming. And so I said, okay. So I just did it. I held her tight and I had her feel my chest rise. So I take some big breaths. And as I was doing that, what I noticed is that she started calming down and just focused on my breath. And then all of a sudden, I'm like, okay, she's doing okay. So I stopped and then she started crying again. So then I started doing it again, taking some deep breaths. And so I did that for a few minutes until I knew that, okay, like she's calm. Then I stopped. And then she was okay. And have you considered that while I was modeling that for her, and that's what allowed her to calm down, that you can do the same thing consciously. So this can be done literally anytime and anywhere. So on a bus, in a train, in a car, in a stadium full of people, in the middle of an important meeting, anywhere. If you're in a crowd of people, no one will even know that you're doing this exercise. So let's do it together right now. So what I'll have you do is I'm gonna have you put your hand on your belly. We're gonna focus on doing a deep diaphragmatic breath. I mean, you're gonna take a slow but deep breath in through your nose. And as you're doing it, you're just gonna count slowly. So this combination of counting and breathing will really shift your consciousness into bringing your attention to being present. So as you reach your limit of the inhalation, you're gonna hold it just for a couple seconds, and then you're going to relax your lips and just let your breath out slowly, almost as if it's a sigh. Then you're going to repeat that cycle for as long as you need. So, doing this puts your world on pause for a moment. So you can just shift out of that fight or flight and into a centered calm. And all it takes is the breath. Now, most of the stress, most of the anxiety that we feel, it's a great example of what's called a psychosomatic effect. So that's where your perceived problems are causing an actually real physical manifestation. Now, on the flip side of that, we've helped thousands of people over the years where the exact opposite issue is the case, is actually occurring, in what we call a somato-psychic effect. So bad habits, accidents, injuries, poor posture, long-term physical stresses like being on a computer all day, they'll cause injury to their spine, which protects the delicate nervous system, which causes the body to be stuck in a constant state of fight or flight. So you can do all the deep breathing that you want, but it'll always just be a temporary solution. So if this is you, have a look at the short series I put together that shows our reliable, awesome health method that's focused on the foundational 4 domains of health and our exact 4-part client success protocol. And I put the links in the description below. So take a big breath, and I'll see you on the next video.